Hi, I'm Dr. Anndrea Hatcher from Olive Branch Parke Veterinary Clinic. Today I'm going to talk about the Red-Tailed Boa Constrictor. For their adult length, the average female is 7 to 10 feet long, and the average male is 6 to 8 feet. Their enclosure temperature range should be about 82 degrees Fahrenheit at the cool side and 90 degrees at the warm side. It should not be lower than 75 degrees at night. The humidity should be 50%, and it should be 70% while shedding. For their activity, they are nocturnal. They do not hibernate, and they do not need UVB light. The lifespan is 20 to 30 years. The enclosure length should be a minimum of 2/3 of the length of the snake. It should have a very secure top, and you do not want to house males together because they may fight. So the equipment you'll need if you're going to have a red-tailed boa constrictor, you won't need a UVB light. So a ceramic heat emitter is a good source of heat, or an under-tank heater, under half of the tank. Do not use heat rocks because they are a burn hazard. Keep the heat source outside of the enclosure to prevent burns. A red bulb at night can enable you to watch your nocturnal pet without disrupting his normal cycle. During the day, have a regular incandescent bulb on for his 12 hours of daylight and then off for his 12 hours of night. A water bowl for drinking and soaking is something else you'll need, plus 2 hide areas, one in the cool part and one in the warm part of the enclosure. Newspaper is a good, cheap, and easily replaced substrate for the bottom of the enclosure. You'll also need tongs for holding dead prey. For food, young boas can be fed pinkies, which are baby mice, once a week. Larger boas that are 6 months old and older can graduate to pre-killed adult mice, rats, chicks, and eventually rabbits, 1 to 2 times a month. Don't feed prey that is larger than the widest part of the snake. If you're feeding frozen prey, thaw them. You can use boiling water, and then dangle them in front of the snake using the tongs. Don't feed the snake where there is loose substrate that the snake may also accidentally eat, for example, pine chips. Try to avoid handling the snake during shedding when he is likely to be more aggressive. Shedding will occur every few weeks to every few months, depending on the age of the snake. All reptiles may carry salmonella, which can cause disease in humans. Very young and very old humans are most at risk. Always wash your hands after handling reptiles. New snakes should be examined by a veterinarian and have a fecal sample checked for parasites. They should have yearly physical exams and intestinal parasite exams after that. Some general information about boa constrictors. They are a non-poisonous carnivorous snake. Snakes are reptiles which can't control their body temperature by creating heat themselves like we mammals do. They rely upon their environment for their body temperature, so this must be taken into consideration when caring for one as a pet. As the name suggests, boa constrictors squeeze their prey to death by wrapping it in their muscular coils in a fatal hug. Then they swallow their prey whole, dislocating their lower jaw if necessary. Technically, you may remember Shel Silverstein's poem, The Boa Constrictor, when he says, "I'm being eaten by a boa constrictor and I don't like it one bit. Well, what do you know? It's nibbling my toe. Oh gee, it's up to my knee." It goes on. Technically, considering the way the boa constrictor kills its prey, the song should end quite soon after it begins. Boa constrictors live in the wild in Central and Southern America and some Caribbean islands. They are large snakes growing 3 to 13 feet, and the adults may weigh 60 pounds. They are usually colored in shades of brown with darker transverse bars going down the back. Boas live 25 to 30 years. If your 10-year-old son asks for a boa constrictor for a pet, be prepared to care for a potentially 8-foot-long, 40-pound snake when your son goes off to college and lives in a dorm. Then be prepared to snake sit again when your son marries and has babies and toddlers in his home. Boas are Houdinis and like to escape their enclosures. A large boa is a danger to a human baby. Additionally, some reptiles are carriers of the bacteria Salmonella. Giving a reptile antibiotics will not cure this. Young children, elderly people, and immunocompromised people are most at risk of becoming ill or dying from Salmonella exposure. Boa constrictors have heat-sensing cells that help tip the scales in their favor when hunting prey, and their forked tongue flicks out of their mouth, tasting smells. I can think of a multitude of smells I'm thankful I don't have to taste. Boa constrictors need to eat whole prey in order to be healthy. The type of prey depends on the size of the snake. Mice or rats are often used, although rabbits or chickens may be fed to larger boa constrictors. Once a snake begins swallowing his prey, he is committed to finishing the job, even if halfway through in the process he realizes he's swallowing an electric heating pad. I'm glad this isn't the case for humans. Otherwise, putting your foot in your mouth would be a terminal experience. When deciding to keep a boa constrictor as a pet, it's important to recreate its normal wild environment as closely as possible. Most health problems in captive snakes are a result of inadvertent poor care. For example, if you want to have enough cage space that your boa doesn't feel constricted.